Okay, everybody. Hi, welcome to session 7 of the Seminole Patchwork with Paper. I'm very excited about today's pattern. I realized I figured out a different pattern this week than I wasn't sure I was going to figure out that I really want to show you. So that means I've got 3 more patterns that I want to show. So instead of this going to 10 sessions, it'll probably go to 11.
Oh, darn.
Okay.
Really? A good
And
thing.
and also next week's pattern, the one that I had a hard time figuring out, this actually turns out to be like super simple. It's just a shift in the way of working. So instead of getting more and more complicated, we're going to take a shift next week and just a different way of creating these patterns. It's been a crazy week, it's Christmas week. I didn't put together a piece of Seminole history this week. I didn't want to just throw something together at the last minute. So we're not going to be doing that this week. And also, last week's recording was so long that I decided to make a shortened version of it. In case you want to go back, you don't have to watch the whole half hour. Okay, so here's what we're doing. Okay. So, and let me see, I should spotlight myself. I don't know if I had done that yet. There we go.
Wow.
Okay, so what I really like about this pattern, I just really like I like the different sizes of the squares in it. You've got this square, you've got these little squares, and you've got this big square. I just love that. If I were to do this one again, which I'm sure I will, I think I would have liked it if this little middle one was red, sort of somewhere in between. It just seems like it should be darker than the pink. But one makes many of these. So what's interesting about this? Okay, so you made it out of these. You made your strips like this. The one with the three larger squares, the 3 larger bands. We're going to be cutting those in 4-unit pieces, and the one with the 3 thinner bands, we're going to be cutting in 2-unit pieces. And we actually use the same number of both, but because this is wider, because these cuts are wider, you end up using half as much of the paper as here. So this is my other half of this. I'm going to cut as many as I can out of this half. And then I'm going to cut the same number out of the one with the smaller ones. So does that make sense to everybody? I'm going to keep this up on top of the screen. And I'm glad I kept the other one on top of the screen last week. Another reason I remade that video is because there was a few flaws in my instruction, both visually and otherwise. And you guys seem to do just fine accommodating with it. But at one point in the last week's, I had the pattern up here unglued, and it was in the right order, but the pieces were not lined up right. So I'm glad that was there, and I'll try to always keep that up there. Okay, so let's start cutting. When I finish cutting mine, I'll ask you guys how you are with yours. And while we're doing the cutting, if anybody has any questions, please feel free.
How many units should we cut?
This one up here, I cut 4 of the big unit. Maybe I cut 5. Cut at least 5 of the 4-unit ones. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, why don't you cut 5 of each? I think that would work nicely. And then just keep cutting if you're finished cutting before everybody else. Does anybody find they have a preferred ruler to use to cut these?
Yeah.
What are people liking? I'm liking the metal rulers more than the quilting rulers for these.
My middle triangle is thinner, so I like it better.
Your middle triangle?
Yeah. It's thinner metal, so I like it better than the metal rulers with cork on them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes the metal rulers with cork on them, I feel like that little bit of height is giving me a problem. I'll turn it over like this. And there goes the metal, there goes the advantage of the cork. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, what was that?
That was me. I'm
What
looking for
happened?
where to mute myself. I
What's
have
that?
my dad's steel straight edge from his engineering days
Yay.
in the 1930s, I guess.
Wow.
It works good.
That's so great you get to use his tools. There's a few tools that my father gave me, and man, that I still use. He thought, oh, Paulo could use this. And then he'd be right. And I still use them. It's so nice. Okay. So how are people doing in general?
Okay.
Anybody need another minute or two?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Does everybody find that this makes your work area like super messy?
Yeah.
So what's nice about this one thing that's nice about this one is there's no turning things upside down. They're all in the same direction that you cut them in. And one thing that's kind of important or something to just be aware of is even though these are exactly the same or should be, try not to turn them around because there could just be just a slight difference. And yeah, I can see there's just a slight difference. And it's better just to try to keep things lined up in the way that they were cut in these situations. Okay, I'm going to start putting them down, and I think people who are still cutting will be able to catch up. This is one of those ones I'm going to start in the middle and decide on a line that I'm going to reference so that it won't do the drift. So here I'm going to pick the edge of the lower right-hand corner of the pink one and make sure it's lined up at the 45-degree angle on the number 3 paper. And then it'll just continue across, alternating in both directions. Now, with this little pink one, you're also going to be lining up the corner of the pink onto that line. So you see how that lines up nicely? And it's like magic that these things like this turn into something like this. So I'm just going to start gluing, and then it'll just be alternating one right after the other. I'm going to glue 4 of them down, and then I'm going to end the recording because this will be all the information you need, and we can just keep working. There's going to be one more thing that I want to talk about too, though. I've been doing this, I'm encouraging you to cut off one side and put it on the other side. Basically, I've been wanting to encourage that just because I want you to know how to do it. When I'm doing, I find that when I'm doing these little cards that I've been making, what I've been doing is just making it so the pattern hangs over on both sides, and then I just slice it off. So, you know, there's that option too. So considering this is so many stripes, this is a pretty easy pattern, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to turn off the recording.